Hey guys, it's Jonathan from the Howard Hospitality Group. Welcome to a new series. This is how to start your vending journey and grow your business. And I wanted to give you guys a little background on why we decided to do this series. And I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube out there that kind of reflect on this subject, but I feel like the live stream, like the whole idea of a live stream really can actually do better for this kind of content. And I feel like getting together with everybody and allowing people to make comments on what I'm talking about, or and when Amelia and Sam and if Natalie comes in and puts input into it, they you can actually comment with us, and it creates a discussion, and it gets us all together to hopefully accomplish the goal, which is to get you started in the business. And then the second part of that is to help those that are in the business do better and grow their business and make more money and do all the stuff that we want to do, which is make money and do this to have a lot of fun and make money. So what the series is going to be doing is basically tonight, it's going to be 2 hours every week roughly. We'll see how far along we get, and the goal for tonight is to cover how to start your own business, what things you need to do, what things you don't necessarily need to do, how to make decisions on what do you do, like what type of vending do you want to do, and where do you want your business to go. So that's what we're going to cover tonight. Then the second week, the goal is to cover locations, and where do you place the machines, how do you talk to those locations, how do you discuss commissions, and that will kind of be the second week. And then the third week will go into what do you put in your machines, and what kind of products do you buy, where do you get those products. So it's kind of exciting. It's a cool series. I really think that I see there's a lot of people already in here in the room, which is welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. This will also be available on our channel, so you can go back and watch it. And then as we will go, I'll end up putting people's comments up so everybody can see it, and and answer your questions. So without further ado, let's get started. Let me pull up. I made a little PowerPoint to kind of get us going here tonight, and um, and help me along, because it's a lot to cover. And the first thing that I wanted to really discuss is how we got started. So our business was actually the creation or the dream of our daughter Amelia. She watches a lot of videos, a lot of TikToks, and she saw videos of these people with full line machines, and they were collecting money out of the machines and filling the machines. And she's a girl that's been selling oranges outside of our house since she was like 6 years old. I mean, she just loves the whole idea of talking to people and selling things. She's all about that. So the whole idea was, she came to us and said, hey, this looks really cool, can we do this, because she wanted to take her little orange business to the next level. But when we found out that you need to find locations, and vending machines are expensive and all that kind of stuff, but long story short, her first trip out, she got 7 locations, and we were on a roll. So we started the Howard Hospitality Group with full line, and then got into candy machines and into claw machines, and now we're doing very well in Northern California, and we have quite a few machines, and we're growing. Almost every week we're doing something new, and we have a new website we're going to talk about tonight. Behind me on the floor, I just did a video. Our new claw stand is here. So that video, actually, I'll probably be releasing tonight, and you guys can take a look at that. But there's a lot going on for us. The new website's a big one. And I actually have a little banner that I will probably end up putting up here. But definitely go to howardhospitalitygroup.com, check that out, and let me know your comments on what you guys think of the site and anything like that. So let's get started. So this is Amelia and Sam. They are 12 years old and 15 years old, and they are the ones that they do almost everything for the business. And the way I wanted to start this live stream tonight is I wanted to talk about kids in vending because I think that it's super important. And I think that is now is the time that we can, we've created an opportunity, which is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is Yao. And a lot of you who are in here right now already know that. They already know about Yao, but I wanted to talk about it for those people that may not have known, what it is or what it's about. But Yao was created by us, young entrepreneurs of the world. The website is yaokids.org. And what it is we feel like vending is a family business. I mean, it's so much fun to do together as a family. We love the idea of working together, and what the kids have learned, which I'll get into in the next slide, is so much. And I think that getting your kids involved in vending, or if you know somebody that wants to get their kids involved in vending, this is a great way to start. We've teamed up with candymachines.com. They give us one triple time, which is a triple head candy machine once a month to give away to one young student and to get started in their business. And it's just a great opportunity for kids to learn how to get started in the business and to start their own business. So I think the best thing about what has happened from Amelia and Sam getting started in the business is that they love people. They love talking to people. They've learned how to the confidence is, which is the first one, is probably the biggest thing that they've gained from doing this. They love talking to people. They've learned how to talk to owners, how to talk to other kids, how to handle situations that might be a little more intimidated than most kids probably ever deal with. But they learned all this just from doing vending. In every single location that we get, they've gotten on their own by talking to the business owners themselves. They've pitched it, they've done it, they've serviced it, they take care of it. And then they've also learned how to run a business, which is kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. And they know every part of that business. So they've learned how to do income and expense reports, how to order products, which is probably their favorite part besides filling the machines, is picking out the toys and stuff like that. And then, they know how, when they're running low on stuff, they know how to do their inventory. They've got it all organized into tubs, very organized, super good for being 12 and 15. And the fact that when they meet customers or kids or stuff on location, they know how to talk to them. They have great customer service skills. They help with the social media and the marketing, in which they're getting into so much more. You know, what do you want to say? Like it's helped them to be able to handle situations and to talk to people. So they're learning the social media part of it, and they're going to be getting more involved in it. And here's let's see if I can pop up this comment. So Tinker Toys and Hobby, welcome you guys. And they saw them speak at MBVA. So they actually spoke at the conference this year about their business and what they got going on and all that and how they do everything. And you can tell. I mean, for those of you that were there, I mean, there was some hard questions that were given, and they handled them. I was pretty impressed. I mean, I almost cried. I was sitting in the back of the room and I almost cried because I was so proud of them for being up in front of, I don't know how many, couple hundred people. I don't know how many were there, and answering questions from legit, business owners on stuff that they do. So very cool. It was awesome, and we had a good time. And MBVA is something we're going to talk about tonight also. But they are also taught, we this is what we do. I mean, this is kind of our lives now. We live and breathe this business, and in our car rides and in our living room talks, we're talking about what's next. Where are we going to go? What's the plan? And they're good at projecting like what they think that where we're going to be and where they want to be. And they're very good at taking and jumping on business opportunities. And there's been plenty of conversations between them and business owners where, they've taken advantage of it and said, yeah, we'll do that and we'll take care of that and we'll do, and they handle it like adults. It's pretty impressive. So, what I wanted, so let's see if I can get back into, oh, here you are. I'm on the wrong screen. Okay. So, let's get started in the actual let's talk about the business part of it. And I think that there's so much information out there. There's a lot of stuff that's in the Discord, on Facebook, and stuff that you guys see out there, and a lot of it's really good, and a lot of it is not so good. And I wanted to cover, what is the most important things that you must have to start the business, to get into it, or should even consider when you're doing this. And so I made a small little list here of things that I really feel like we kind of jumped in both feet, feet first, and just kind of, and then as we went along, we learned that, hey, maybe we should have, thought about these things, sooner, or maybe what our goals were in the future. So I wanted to go over, a couple things that you really want to consider and think about. And the biggest thing that, and probably the hardest thing that we had to decide on is our name, like, what do we want to be called? And, we knew ourselves as the Howards, and, my name's Jonathan Howard, Amelia and Sam Howard and Natalie. And we wanted to be, the Howard something. We knew that, or the Howard Group, or something. We were trying to think of what was different than so and so amusements, or um, you know, um, something vending. We didn't want to be something like that. We wanted to kind of have an umbrella that we could create for ourselves, so then we could have different parts to it. So the Howard Hospitality Group was something that Natalie came up with, because she said, hey, we're in kind of the hospitality industry. We're doing, snacks and drinks, and then we're serving our locations. So it's kind of like that, and that's where she came up with the name. And what was great about the Howard Hospitality Group, and Jen was talking about this last night in the live stream, is that it does allow you to have a broader scope. And I think if you limit it to something amusements or something vending, you might not be able to cover all the things that you want to cover someday. So when you're doing your name and your logo, think about, you know, do you really want to do full line? Do you really want to do, drinks and snacks? Do you want to do bulk vending? What kind of vending do you want to do? And the easiest of them all, we're going to talk about all the different kinds of vending. I've got a slide on that also, but really deep dive in your head and think about what's important to you. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you want to be filling drinks and snack machines for the next 5 years? Do you want to be filling claw machines for the next 5 years? Or do you want to have this as a side hustle and you only do a certain kind, or you want to have a little bit of everything? And here, Tinker Toys and Hobby said, because some people are going to be listening to this on a podcast. So this is the same idea with our branding. We wanted to encompass industries outside of vending that sort of fall under the realm of amusement and fun. So that's where they came up with their names, which is Tinker, Toy, and Hobby. So you can imagine, they can do a lot of different things with that name, and it can be vending, it can be amusement, it can be toys, it can be hobby stuff. It can be all kinds of things. And so that was really smart of them to create a name that is something that can cover a bigger spectrum. And I really think that Galaxy Games 843 is also that way with Matt, because can mean a lot of things. He can cover a lot of avenues, and still fit vending underneath that umbrella. So really think about what you want to do with your name and your logo when you're creating it, and then what your long-term goals are. And so as far as that's concerned, I think that's probably the biggest choice you're going to make in the beginning is who you are. What are you about, and what do you want to be doing for the rest of the time? And this talk tonight, we're going to talk about the different types of vending, and it might make you kind of rethink what you're planning on doing, because there is a lot of things that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to those different types of vending. So, but when you get into doing the actual business stuff, which is what we'll talk about now, there's some things that we recommend that you do. It's none of these are things that, well, a couple might be required, but this is what we would recommend that you accomplish when you're creating your business. And the first one is to get an LLC. LLCs are not expensive. Don't get in the trap of going online and you type in like get your LLC, and then there's companies out there that first pop up and they want you to pay to get your LLC, and you can do this on your own for relatively cheap or nothing, depending on where you live. So don't fall into the trap of like $200 or $400 because you think that you need to pay to get your LLC. So what an LLC is means you're a limited liability company. It means that separates your business from you. So if something happens and you get sued or something's going on, you need to make sure that you're protected. And having an LLC means that they can only go after that company. They can't go after you. So we highly recommend that this is one of the first things that you do. And then you go to the state and you get an EIN number, which is your employee information number. You'll need this to open a lot of the accounts that you're going to get. And then you register with the state. And every state's a little bit different, but you want to get an EIN number just because in order to be legit, sometimes to get 30-day terms on some of these companies and products, you'll need that. And you'll also need the information if you want to get like a seller's permit and stuff down the road. So those are the two things that you really, really, really need. Now, as far as a business license, that's not necessary, depending on where you live. So if you're doing an actual physical business in an area, your city or county or something might require that you have a business license for that area. Where we live, we're not required to have a business license or a DBA or anything like that. And it's not something that you necessarily have to have, but if you want to have one, you can. But what that business license is that, and it's kind of hard in vending because it only covers a certain area. So like for us, we have routes that are 2 hours away. So we would need a business license in all of the cities or counties that we will be doing business in, which you don't necessarily need when doing vending. So, and then you need to post, you need to do you need to do an ad in the paper and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a whole process to that too. But excuse me. The other thing that we highly recommend that you do is you get a business account, and it not only helps you look more legit, but you'll get checks with the business name on it, and then you'll have a place where then you can do wire transfers, you can write checks to companies, you can depending on, and we highly recommend credit unions have better deals on business accounts most of the time. One thing that we did learn is that our business account is through Wells Fargo. And the reason that we did that was because they actually will accept change. So we basically have a scale that we, count, or we weigh our change, and then we deposit it in a bag. And so we don't have to roll our quarters or do that anymore. So highly recommend Wells Fargo for that. But as far as like some of the benefits of the business accounts that are out there, there's a lot better ones. So it just depends on what you want to do with the account, but definitely get a business account and set that up and get that started, because you'll be using it a lot for checks. And like, if you're going to be doing any overseas purchasing or anything, you might need to do wire transfers or those types of things. So you want to have a nice business account and make yourself legit, And so machine licenses is the next thing on the list. And what that covers is we're not required in where we live in California to have licenses on all of our machines, but you need to have, some places your machines have to be permitted and you have to pay a fee for every single, depending on the county or the city or whatever it is, a license for that machine. So depending on how well the machine does, that can really affect your bottom line depending on whether or not the machine's licensed or not. So, and if you have to pay for that. So that's something to consider and something to talk to your local city or county about and find out what their rules are on licenses. The other thing that this kind of falls under is, depending on where you live, trying to think of one. I think Illinois is one off the top of my head. That is a play till you win state, which means that all your machines. I think it's Illinois, but I may be wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments. But you must run your machines as play till you win. So everybody has to win something, otherwise it's considered gambling, and they don't allow that in that state. So make sure that you know what your rules are for the type of play you're going to do, and what that falls under. Also, machines like gambling machines themselves, electronic gambling, coin pushers, those types of machines that you see. Those are fall under specific guidelines in each state, and you need to make sure that you can even carry those before you go buy some of them, and then realize that you got a really nice, letter in the mail that you owe a giant fee and you must remove your machine and all kinds of stuff. So look into coin pushers, look into the way you have to play to win or not. That's very important because it does affect, your bottom line, and it does affect how you're going to be running your machines. And not all machines are available to be play till you win. So it may affect the product that you buy for the machines, and also the machines themselves. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is insurance. And I think that this is extremely important. I think that when you go to locations, and you're talking to them about your business, one of the biggest things that they're going to have their own insurance. They have to. They're required to have their own insurance, and you'll fall under that insurance because your machine will be on their location. But the fact that you may have your own insurance as like a backup, we always recommend you do a $1 million liability policy on at least on your insurance. And we also have ours where it covers all of our equipment. The reason being is we started that because we have full line machines and they're very expensive. They're $5,000 or more. So we got insurance on all of our machines to cover in case something happened, or there's a fire or whatever it may be. Anything that happens with those machines, they're fully covered under our insurance. And it's also great to be able to go. And we always give people a copy of it. We at least offer to give them a copy of our insurance when we actually set up a location with people. But it's always nice for them to know that you're legit. You have your insurance. If something should happen, some kid jumps on it and the machine falls on them or something, that you're covered and you have your own insurance, even though they're going to have to cover it too. At least it's nice to have backup insurance for them. So make sure we use State Farm. It seems to be the most used and well liked insurance for vending. There was a Next Insurance for a while that people were trying to use, and come to find out they don't cover machines, which really kind of put a wrench in everybody's process and everything. But now there's also, you can go to your local insurance agent that's in town. Anybody can get you basic business insurance and with liability. That's not something that's hard to do. It doesn't have to be a special vending policy or anything like that. It just needs to be, make sure that it's covered and that it does offer you $1 million liability. That's the most important thing. The next thing is that if you're going to be doing any kind of resale, so if you're going to be doing vending machines, like full line, and you're going to be selling products, you can buy those products without paying sales tax. So through Sam's Club, through Walmart, through even Amazon offers no sales tax. And so then at the end of the year, then you pay the taxes on those products. So it helps your bottom line throughout the year. You end up paying the taxes at the end of the year. But it usually seems to be less for some reason. It always comes out less by doing the no tax. In California, our sales tax is crazy expensive. Tinker Toys and Hobby said, like up there in Oregon, they have no sales tax. So they're lucky. But here it's very expensive. So we recommend that if you're going to be doing any kind of resale with full line or anything like that, you get your seller's permit. And one thing that, the next thing that's on the list is one thing that we didn't do for like a year when we first started our business, is that we were doing our own taxes, and we're including the business as part of our own personal taxes. And finally, we're at the end of it, and I told Natalie, I said we should probably go to like a CPA and have them help us, and so we did, and we're very glad we did. It's a cost that you'll have to take on, but the amount of stuff they know and the amount of money they can save you in the long run ended up saving us more money than what they cost us. And it taught us how to do things right. So if you can do it in the beginning, and you have a little money set aside, I recommend, you go to them with everything that you've done. So your LLC information, your EIN, your business account, your if you have licenses, your insurance, everything, you go to them and go to a CPA and say, okay, I'm getting ready to do this. What do you recommend? How do I write this off? How do I don't write this off? And get all that information up front. How to, record your receipts, keep track of your receipts. Should you do like a cheap version of QuickBooks? Everybody makes this mistake in the beginning, and until you talk to a tax professional, like, hey, yeah, see, here's Tinker Toys and Hobby said, we made so many mistakes our first year that we didn't realize until we talked to the tax professional. 100% worth it, the cost to do it right. So highly recommend. This is probably the biggest thing that will not only save you money in the long run, but will make you super smart in business, is to have somebody like this working for you that can help guide you, because it seems basic, but it's really not. And I'm gonna be 50 this year, and I thought I knew everything that I needed to know, and I knew nothing. So I felt really dumb sitting in that meeting, going, "Man, I did this all wrong for the past year." And they're like, "Yeah, you did." And I'm like, "Oh man." So we learned a lot. Natalie and I were very happy that we did that. We actually changed the dynamic of the business. So, like, we were originally a sole proprietorship, and then we actually switched to a partnership. That way, the kids and all of us share a piece of the business. So, that's something to talk to them about too. Is that if you're going in and you're going to do this business with somebody else, or you're sharing it with a partner, that's something you probably should talk to them about, because it also has different rules, on how much money you can take out for yourself per year, how you do that. You can't just write yourself checks for things like you used to, or take money out. Like, there's all kinds of rules and restrictions depending on how you list yourself in the state. So this is all stuff that we learned, and we had to redo everything after a year. So if you're starting out, I highly recommend you spend it was only $350, I think, to meet with them, to do everything and help us set everything up the first time, which isn't really that bad for how much it saved us the following year. So highly recommend you do that, and get everything done. And then at that point, you should be off and running. And now you can start, getting into the actual business part of it, and we're going to talk about next of what you decide to do, as far as which type of vending you decide to do. But you kind of have your basics set up then at that point, and you should feel pretty good about what you've done, because you can also, one thing I didn't talk about is that a lot of these things you can write off. So, like, you can write off the CPA, and actually, yeah, they were just saying that in the comments. So you can write off your CPA and all these things you're doing. So it is a tax write-off too. So it's definitely worth it to go see somebody, and get to this point where you feel, you have a legit business at this point, and you are ready to go. And I think, there are certain things you do need to do, and I think that those are the things you need to do. All the other extra stuff, I don't necessarily think is something that and a few of these, like the business account, excuse me, let me drink some coffee. Like the business account and stuff, I mean, those are things you can wait to do for a little bit if you want to. You don't have to set up a business checking account right away, until you get a little further along. But the other things, I do recommend from the beginning that you do, and especially when you're going out and trying to get locations and things like that, that you want to have some of the stuff behind you, and they know you're legit at that point, which is great. So, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so at that point, you should be pretty set. And depending on what you're gonna, what type of vending you're gonna do, Then the next thing you're going to want to do is to set up all your business to business accounts. So you want to have your your LLC or your AN number, all that information they're going to ask you for when you set up a lot of these business accounts. And so these are accounts where you're going to be purchasing machines, you're going to be purchasing product, and other things that you're going to need to do on a daily basis with the business. And in order to get those accounts, you kind of need to have most of the stuff above kind of done. But you want to go on. That's where I have in here in these in the middle here. So these are like some of the ideas of the accounts that you might want to set up. And so like Flatline, SSM Vending, All Star, those types of accounts where they'll offer you 30-day terms, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's credit card in the beginning and then off to 30-day terms. But a lot of these companies require that you have all that information that's above when you contact them. So, and when you're setting up larger accounts, especially, where you may be doing things on an account, like putting a credit card reader on an account or those types of things, you will need the information that we talked about up here above. So that's what all that does, is to help you get accounts that are like over here in this middle section here. And some of the other stuff that's on here, just so you guys know, is just kind of some of the things that we use or have used in the past. And those are, things like, these are the flyers that we started out with before we came out with our, we have like a 3 trifold flyer now that we use. But Amelia and Sam used to go out with flyers like these and just kind of showed the different things that we offered on the right hand side here, and then some pictures of her standing next to the machine so they could see how big they were, and then just our contact information. And that was like how we started out. And then down here is something that we use in our videos, and we put this in there to so people contact us on our videos and stuff that are in our machines. And then over here is we always have custom made stickers on all of our machines. You can get these through E3 Vending in the Discord, or vendinglabels.com. These are from vendinglabels.com. I made these in Photoshop and sent them to him, and he printed them for us. And so like on our machines, it always has our phone number and our name, so people know how to get a hold of us. And down here at the bottom is actually them speaking at MBVA this year. So that's them at the seminar. You can see them sitting up at the little table, and then me talking about kind of what they did and how they do it. And then these are more custom stickers that we have made down here in the corner. Let me see if I can get myself off of. Let's see. Oh wait, here we go. So you can't really see it, but this is like our social media sticker that we have on here, and it basically has our YouTube channel with the QR code and our Instagram information. So those are some things that just kind of on here, and then we're going to talk about this at the bottom of the MBVA coming up here in a second. But that's what's on this slide, just for you guys to look at while we're talking about this stuff. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to advertise your business and get started, put out some ads, that kind of stuff. And so you're going to need to set up all your social media accounts. You're going to have to figure out, am I going to be doing YouTube? Am I going to be doing Instagram, TikTok? There's no better free advertising than TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, Reels, all these things that are out there that don't cost you any money to create, and you can do on your own time, and it's free advertising. So you can actually even pay on some social media accounts to have ads put out. But it is great advertising, and for what you're doing, which is the amusement industry and kids, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all those are exactly where your people are and your audience is. So that's what you're going to want to get into. And the last thing besides MBVA that I want to talk about is Discord and the Facebook groups. So in our description down below, for those of you that might not be in the Discord, you're missing out. I mean, it is we're at over 3,500 members now that are just into vending, all kinds of vending. And maybe if I have time tonight, I'll go over, kind of a little bit about the Discord and show people, what it's all about. But it's if you went in there, it's over 6 months worth of reading. There's a lot of stuff in there for you to learn. And Facebook groups are great. I think that there can sometimes be a lot of negativity on Facebook, which is unfortunate. But the sometimes you can get great information from Facebook groups, and I think we belong to like about 30 of them that are just vending. And so there's a lot of information, a lot of posts every day on there to get information on Facebook also. But the Discord's more positive, I think, and it's got a lot more pieces that will help you, I believe. So if you haven't joined, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and I highly recommend it. So the last thing I wanted to talk about on this list is the MBVA, and the MBVA, and it was on the last slide with the kids, because the MBVA, which I'll pop this back up, they they have a scholarship in the MBVA for students so that are going to college. So every year they're giving, these kids that have awarded a scholarship for college. So as you get into Yao, you get into doing this stuff with your kids, then all of a sudden as they grow older, then they're getting scholarships for college just for being in vending. And then they take their vending business and they expand their route to where they're going to college, and all of a sudden they're putting machines out there and they're going to college and collecting, from their machines out on locations while they're going to college. I mean, there's no better job. They can do it anytime they want, any day a week. It's just a great business that they could get started in, and it can carry them through college, and it's great. And then, I mean, who knows? Maybe even get into doing their own vending business after college, or if they choose not to go to college and they just want to go into vending full time, they can do that too. But the MBVA is something that I would recommend. That it's very inexpensive to get in, and it's something that I recommend you immediately join, and that you go to the conference every year, and all the relationships and stuff you'll learn from that is pretty awesome. So that would be the last thing on the list that I would say is so worthwhile. And we had a executive meeting today for MBVA, and it's just there's so many exciting things happening, and it's growing, and I just think there's a lot going on. So definitely join the MBVA as part of this list, and so hopefully you guys are taking notes. Just kidding. All right, so next, this is a shameless our shameless plug page. I wanted to talk to you guys about our website for about a few minutes, just because we can. And I wanted to show you something because today the claw stand showed up behind me. It's down on the floor. I did a video. It's going to be released tonight on YouTube, showing like what it really looks like and how to set it up and stuff like that. And then we'll do an install video coming up. But I wanted to show you guys. Let me pop open this real quick, because a lot of people have asked me. Let me share this screen real quick. Have asked me about the website, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit about it, because I wanted to, without going there, or without showing people, I wanted to kind of give you guys, kind of an overview real fast, because I think it's really cool, and I'm very happy with how it turned out, and the kids and all of us have worked so hard to work on it. And so I'm going to skip the video because it kind of just slows down my computer when I'm on doing the thing. But I wanted to show you. So on the homepage here, when you come to the Howard Hospitality Group website, we've basically got 4 major areas, and you guys know who we are, or you will know who we are after watching this a little bit. But this talks about the kids, how they got started, and some of the things that we do, like Yao, and then our new claw stand and things like that. So that's the who we are. The services page is a page on. This is the flyer that we actually use, you guys, when we go out to talk to people. So if you're looking for flyer ideas, this is really cool. Like, we spent a lot of time doing it. And I think it turned out really good. So this is actually the front, which is really cute. And it basically says, you're looking for something exciting, let's team up. And it's got a little kid doing, the one-legged race with his dad or whatever. And then in the inside cover, it has all the questions, like, what does it cost them? How do you do it? So go to our website and steal this, use this, because it'll help you get locations. And it's really cool in the fact that people seem to really like the flyer. We've switched our machines up, so there's one more page that we usually have in here that has a list of all of our machines, but we've actually changed that and they're getting reprinted now. Um, but this kind of shows you a little bit about what our flyer looks like. And here, so this is 3 pages of our 5 pages of our flyer. The other two are just images of machines, but it talks about Sam and Amelia and how they got started, or that they started it, and our contact information and some of the places that we're in. But go here and use, like, these questions are great on a flyer, because if you do have to leave the flyer, it has these so they can refer back to it. So anyways, that's what's on that page. The good stuff page, which is over here on this is just kind of stuff that has helped us to help you, kind of thing. And so every single item that we use in our route, like if you click the Amazon, it goes down the page and it has all Amazon links. I mean, yeah, they're referral links. So we make like 5 cents for every 10 or something stupid. It's not really a lot of money, but they are referral links. But there wasn't the reason that we put them on here. We put them on here for you guys because everybody asks, like, where do we get our things? So we figured we might as well, put referral links on there. But this is all the stuff that we use on our route, all the stuff that we use on our YouTube. And it's everything. So if you need to know, like, hey, where do I get what's the best timer for my machines. This is the timer that we use, and you click it and it goes straight to Amazon, to the listing to get it. These are the rubber bands that we use around our keychains. They're awesome. We love them. And so there's all the things that we use on our route or on here. And you've seen them in the videos and stuff. And it was just a way to help you guys find them. And you don't even have to use our links if you don't want to. You can just get the images and use those to help you on your route. So it wasn't really about the money part of it. It's more about helping you find good stuff. Because we went through, for example, these things right here, which I absolutely love, which are these aluminum tags that we have on our money bags. We went through like 5 different plastic ones before we found these aluminum ones, and they just last and they're awesome. So these are how we label our bags. And then we just got these black canvas bags that we love. And so, which is in one of our videos, and we love this for keychains and all kinds of stuff that we put in there. They're like our toppers for our route. But anyways, that's what's on this page. Stitches, this is where we get our all of our logoed stuff. So like the shirt that I'm wearing, our hats, our cups, all our stuff is here, and you can actually buy them on the site now. But that's Stitches is awesome, and he ships all over the US. So if you're looking for somebody that does really good embroidery and screen print and stuff, he's awesome, and his prices are really good too. And then Amelia and Sam have a buy me a coffee page, so if you wanted to give them some kudos, they have their own little page where people give them a little bit of money, and they use it to go buy things, and kind of like a reward. So that's their little buy me a coffee. It's buy me a boba, I think, is what they set it up as, but that's their little page for like the little rewards page. And then we do have a NIAX code that you can use, and it saves you 7% on the NIAX website. So we put that up there for you too, to save you some money. And then the last part is probably the thing that took us the most time, which is our store. And we have some more stuff coming that you guys are going to absolutely love. And I'm very excited about it because I think it's going to be stuff that you guys are going to go absolutely nuts for. So we have some machine stuff coming that is really cool. But the newest thing that we have, of course, is our claw stand, which is ready to go, ready to be shipped now. Though somebody already bought one of them. It's being shipped out tomorrow. And so they're available to purchase now. Once we saw the one today, we wanted the final inspection. It is ready to go. I'll show you guys. The video will be up tonight, so you guys can check it out. But the claw stand turned out awesome. So I'm very excited about that. And then these screens, I'm very excited about too. We've been using these about 1.5 years, and I think you guys are going to love these in your machines. So check these out, because they are just plug and play for your claw machines or your amusement machines. And there's 2 different sizes. And then of course we have our merch and stuff if you guys wanted to get that stuff. And then we now, David and I now have a contract with Kiosoft together, where we can sell credit card readers, and you don't have to go through a rep anymore. So you just buy them off our website now, and we submit the information to Kiosoft, and they set up your account directly, and it ships direct to you. So there's no middleman, nothing like that. You can just order whatever you want, and if you order 5 or more, there's a code to save you even more money. But we should be less expensive than, I believe you even get them from the rep, which is awesome. So check those out too. There's more on the next page. But yeah, so we do that too. So that's something David and I are doing together from Extreme Vending, is with Kiosoft, because we use those a lot on our machines. And then we also have the NIAX code, so you can use that too. But check that out. Anyways, that's our website. That's the shameless plug. That's all those shameless plug I'll do tonight, I promise. So let me get back to the PowerPoint here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. All right, here we go. So there we go. All right. So back to this. Where am I at? There I am. Okay. So Cloud Magic had a question about the screens. He said, do they plug in an outlet or wire in the machine? They are direct wired. And so we went through about 5 different screens before we found one that we love. And the one thing about the screens is that, you know, we looked at all different kinds, and we started with like cheap photo frames and stuff, and they just don't work, and they're a pain. So these screens are so awesome. So they actually come with a converter that you basically just unscrew the 2 little screws on your power supply of your machine. If you get the bigger one, it doesn't even need that. It just plugs directly into the power supply because it's 12 volt. But you just plug it right into the power supply of your machine. You can remotely send them on your phone through the app. If your screen is connected to Wi-Fi at your location, you can sit in your living room and update the screen via the app. So you don't even have to be on location. Like, they're absolutely amazing. And it took a long time to get to find the right ones. And then we went to the manufacturer in China. So they ship direct from China to you. They're very cool. They come with like our logo on them and stuff. When they boot them up, they're really neat. And they did an amazing job, and they made a lot of changes that we wanted. So you can't buy these anywhere. They're like specially designed after what we learned and wanted to change, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the way that you use them and the way they work is phenomenal. And we'll be doing, I have 2 of the new ones coming. They should be here tomorrow, and I'll be doing videos on those too, so you guys can see how they work. I'll show you how to set them up and all that stuff. So we'll have YouTube videos on that too. So they plug directly in your machine. We were running them with the 110 plug. You know, we had to basically run a 3-prong extension cord for a year to make them work. So now you don't have to do that anymore. They'll just go right in your machine. So so let's talk about the different kinds of vending. And this is where, when you're deciding when you want to get into the business, this is something that you really need to consider, because there's a lot of positives and negatives on each type of vending. And I wanted to go over those with you because, you know, we do all of them now. We do everything from full line. We do candy in bulk. We do claw machines, mini claw machines. We do full size claw machines, and we even do arcade games. So we kind of cover the whole gambit of what's out there, and we have our favorites and we have our not so favorites. So probably, you know, what we feel, this was how we got started, which is full line. And if you have a great location, full line can be very profitable. But of all the vending options that are out there, it is the most expensive, and it is also the most work. So for those of you who think that you can go on like Facebook Marketplace and buy a used machine and throw it in location and it'll do fine, we don't recommend that. We recommend that if you can, you purchase new equipment, or that you get equipment, lease equipment from somewhere, because there's a lot of technology that goes in the machines. And even if you buy them new, like we did on our machines, you still have issues, but you're not replacing coils and motors and everything. You may be replacing one part. So we've been running ours this is our 3rd year, and we've replaced one board in that 3 years, which just happened recently. And but we replaced no motors or anything like that. We buy all of our machines from Wittern. And for those of you, I put e-vending on here, and I put vending.com, because just so you know, and a lot of people don't know this, they're actually both owned by Wittern, and they're actually in the same building or same location. and they both sell the same machines, and they're direct from Wittern. So I put them both up here so you guys know that you're not buying from a different company. They're both the same. And I learned that because when we were looking for machines, I called and spoke to the guy, and I became kind of good friends with him. And he's like, yeah, well, the other guy you called is like sitting in the booth, a couple booths back over there. And I'm like, oh, you guys are in the same place? He's like, yeah, we're the same company. So that's good to know. But we really like Winter machines. I know that Matt just got some of the Sega machines, and in the past they've had kind of a bad name. But he said he loves them and he loves the new stuff, and that you can get those through candy machines. But he said he's in love with those machines. So they've changed a lot and they've come a long ways. But all of our stuff is Wittern. Besides, we use Pepsi, so they use the glass front machines and the Dixie Narco machines and stuff like that. So, but as far as the overall full line vending, we feel like the biggest con is it's very expensive. We probably should have started with something cheaper when we got started, because we got a loan and we got a bunch of machines, and that's how we got going. It's very labor intensive. Of all of the vending types, it's the most work. It's heavy. Drinks are heavy. All the stuff you got to carry and everything else. They're not little toys. You also have, the margins aren't as great as they are in toys, and you also have a lot of waste. So you're gonna have products that are gonna go bad, whereas toys and stuff like that don't go bad. So that's something to consider too, is that you need to make sure that you're selling, or that you're having a location that you can go through a lot of product and it's not going to be sitting in the machine for a long time. We have one hotel which is very slow for us. So what you'll learn is that we really feel like when you get to like four drink machines or four snack machines is like the best number, that or above. Because what you end up doing is you want to be able to carry all the products in your machines for these, because you have a lot of choices. But they're not always going to sell at each location. So what you'll end up doing is as about 2 weeks before something expires, you'll take that thing and move it to your more popular location of where those things sell. So you'll be moving product around in your machines quite a bit. And Nallie's gotten really good at that. She knows like what sells where and how. And so she moves a lot of product around. So another labor intensive thing that you got to do, and a lot of thinking and a lot of time. It's very hard to scale on this type of business because the machines are so expensive. So, for the first part of when we got started, I mean, we were barely making hardly any money on full line, because you have a bill you got to pay for the machines. And then you're hoping that stuff sells so you can make a little bit of money at the same time. And for those that say it's passive, it's not even close to passive. I'd say it's somewhat passive, in the fact that you only need to go once a week, possibly every 2 weeks to a location. But the amount of work that you have to do and time and stuff like that to get there is quite a bit. And there's a lot of pieces to them. So, like credit card readers and that kind of stuff. So a lot of things to consider. The nice thing is like the pros that we like about it is that it is flexible as far as hours. So especially like in our hotels, is that we can go to those hotels anytime and fill them up, because they're open 24 hours a day. So we can go any day, anytime. I mean, there's been plenty of times we filled the machine up 10 o'clock at night, just because that was when we were available. And it's not a lot of time. It's more time consuming than the other types of vending, but it's not, as far as how much time you spend on location, it's probably 20-30 minutes tops. And then you have to do, so for those of you who don't know, with full line nowadays, you can do it with software, like Vensoft, or the software that comes with the Greenlight credit card readers. They use 365 Marketplace, and it's a great software. And now everything, you can actually make what they call par lists, which a lot of people call it pre-kitting. So what happens is you can actually print out a list. I don't know if I have one. I don't think I have one here. But what it'll do is it'll tell you exactly how many of each thing is in the machine, and or how low you are or how many you've sold. And what's great about that is that you don't need to take cases of Coke and cases of Pepsi and you don't need to take all that stuff. You only need to take 5 Pepsis, 5 Cokes, 5 Dr. Peppers, whatever, so that you can pre-kit the night before for the machine or even an hour before you go out, and just bring only what you need. And it's really reliable, and it's very I mean, it's dead on. I mean, every so often you may pack and then you go there and you may have sold one more of something, but it's very accurate and it's nice. And with our software, which a lot of software you have to go back to your house and like re-input all your numbers in there. With ours, you don't. You can actually do it on your phone while you're at the location. So you update your inventory. So even by the time you drive home, nobody's going to be buying stuff or anything like that. It's all entered in the system and ready to go. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's out there now for full line vending, and it's something that people need. So it's pretty recession proof. People are still going to buy a soda or buy a snack or something like that if they're stuck at work. That doesn't really go down that much. What you will notice with full line is that like your food and snack, like your candy and snacks will go up in the wintertime, and your drinks will go up in the summertime. So your drinks kind of dwindle off in the wintertime because it's not as hot and people aren't drinking as many sodas. But but in the summertime, it'll pick back up. And then for some reason in the winter, our snack sales are crazy. So I don't know if it's just people they're stuck inside because it's raining, and we sell a lot of candy and snacks in the wintertime. So as far as full line is concerned, I think it's probably at Howard Hospitality Group. It's probably our least favorite of the one that we do. It's the most expensive, most labor intensive, and it's the hardest, I think, out of all of them to do. And but it is rewarding if you've got a 300-person location, employees. You're going to do very well. And it can be really lucrative if you do it right. And if you like Matt from Galaxy Games 843, he's great at finding deals on sodas and stuff. He talked about on the live stream last night. If you can find great deals and discounts and stuff, and you can save yourself money on your bottom line from when you're purchasing, you can make even more money. So, but that's full line. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. But that's the first type of vending that we do, and the vending that's out there. And I think that, people see people pulling a lot of money out of their machines and stuff. But in all honesty, now with credit card readers and the way things are going with people nowadays, like when we go to our full line machines, and we're doing more credit card sales than we're doing cash. So, and hardly any change ever. So I think those kind of days of pulling tons of money out of there is kind of gone. I think it's more about people using their cards. So anyways, yeah. So, and then those are the locations, you can get them on Facebook Marketplace too. Sam's Club has Sega machines you can buy direct from them. And they have like these deals where, you get these package deals for them too. So there's stuff on Sam's Club, or Witter and Group does in-house financing, and Candy Machines has financing too on their Sega machines. So it is, full line is a lot of work. So that's the best way to put it. So let's get on to the next one. So the next one's going to be bulk. So this is the least expensive way to get into vending. It is by far the cheapest. It is also by far the least profitable out of all of them, in the short amount of time. So over time, as you grow and you have busier locations and more machines, you do make more money. But you're making it, a little bit at a time. But as far as there's a lot more pros than there are cons. The cons to this one, like we said, you're doing now. I should rephrase this. Excuse me, guys. Let me take a little cough here. So now, bulk has kind of graduated into, and the world has changed. So things are more expensive nowadays, which is kind of good because the price of the products hasn't gone up so much, except for candy, which we'll get into in a minute. But Bulk products is stayed relatively low over time, but the price of things have gone up. So a lot of times, what used to be a 25-cent Mac on a machine now is 50 cents. Um, like these Pokeballs here that we sell. This is one of our machines. Um, these we sell these for $1. So I mean, and they cost us about 30 cents. So I mean, that's a pretty good profit on those bulk items. So those kind of machines, do pretty well. As far as, and then it's, they get one every single time. So, um, that's a little bit different. Whereas the mini claws, which we're going to talk to in a little bit, your prizes may be 30 cents to $1, but they don't win every time. So you're going to be making more profit. So this is, you're guaranteed to lose 30 cents every single time, but you're also guaranteed to make 70 cents every time, or 35 cents, or whatever it is. So, but as far as the only con that I feel really with bulk vending is, we use it as an accessory to our locations. So we do have six from when we got started. We have six triple candy machine and on location, triple time candy machines that we when we first got it started, and they're by themselves on location, and we only service them once a month, and they usually do between 50 and 70 bucks a month max. And sometimes they can be as low as 30. It just depends on the month. But it's only candy and it's a month. So that's not a lot of money, but it also, we go there once a month and we spend about 10 or 15 minutes a month, and we make 50 to $70 a month. So it's kind of on how you look at it, but you still got to drive there. You still got to, get your candy. You got to change out your candy every now and then. Like, so it gets really hot here. So we don't do chocolate in the summertime. We were only running like hard candies and gum and stuff like that. But for those of you who kind of follow costs of things, I mean, candy is getting expensive. Gumballs are still, relatively cheap, but a lot of candy's gone up. I mean, like M&M peanuts, all these kind of things that we used to put in our machines. I mean, they're very expensive now. So you can't make as much profit as you used to on those types of machines. But great products that are out there from companies like SSM and Flatline and like All Star, and those companies, they have some great bulk and flat products, which flat means like stickers and tattoos and that kind of stuff that's out there, and you can make really good profits on them. But as far as the amount of time, it takes a longer time to get your money back. So that's probably the thing that's the worst about it. But because you're still almost spending as much time as you would for like a mini claw and servicing it, but you do need to service the mini claw more times a month. So that's kind of the thing. But as far as bulk vending, I think it's the most passive out of all of them. I mean, it's so easy. You just leave stuff there for a month and come back and service it. We do like most of ours are at restaurants and stuff like that in town. We have one at a feed store and one at a hunting store. But we kind of go by those places anyways. So usually we kind of wipe down our machines more than we only collect once a month, but we do kind of wipe them down. So that's the only bad thing I think about that, is that you need to make sure you're taking care of your machines. So nobody's really going to want to buy candy from a machine that's very dirty or got fingerprints and stuff all over it and stuff. So you kind of need to at least go by and wipe it down every now and then. But as far as the machines are concerned, if you're buying Beaver machines, Northwestern machines, which are the higher end bulk machines, and those are going to be a little more pricey. Candy Machines has a Rhino brand that is relatively inexpensive, that you can get into. So as far as the entry level of vending, I would say this is the easiest one to get into, the least expensive. You can grow super fast. I mean, every place you can think of, whether it's a barbershop or a restaurant or a tool place or whatever it is, they all kind of went into, you know, they all kind of have one of those kind of machines, or are okay with you putting one of them in there. So even if it's like a generic gumball machine, like it's really simple to get in those locations. And like you'll notice here, like we have the sticker machine that Amelia is standing next to, and then somebody else had there's a spiral behind it. So everybody's kind of got these floating around and they're kind of easy to place. So it's really easy to place. People are used to them, they're used to seeing them. They don't take power. So you don't need to worry about an outlet. They can almost go anywhere. And the other margins are usually pretty good on most of the stuff. And you don't need to put a lot of time into it. So and it's recession proof. Same idea. They do very well as far as like, they're easy, not time consuming, and you can grow and you can get, quite a few of them for relatively inexpensive. There's also some really cool groups on Facebook where they actually refurbish old ones and sell them. So you can really get some cool older looking ones if you wanted to go that route. But that's kind of bulk vending in general. It's a great way to get started, and that's why we do it with Yao, and Yao Kids, and that's why Andy from Candy Machines is like, we should start there because it's a great way for kids to get used to doing vending, and then they can grow, and they can do bigger things. So, anyways, that's bulk vending. So next is mini claws, and this is kind of our bread and butter. We have quite a few mini claws now, and I think that they're the kids' favorite out of all of them. And the reason being is that they're for them they've been very easy to place. We can't think of any cons. We were talking about it and we were going over like we're like no, like there aren't any cons to mini claw machines as far as we could see. Um, they're super easy to place compared to like big giant claw machines or arcade games or something like that. They're very passive. Depending on if you're busy or not, you can go fill them once a week or every 2 weeks, and you spend about, I think Amelia's about a 7 to 8 minute average right now. So it's for her to get into that and get it done in 8 minutes is pretty awesome. I mean, that's about how much time she needs without talking to anybody. Um, they're not very expensive, so they're relatively inexpensive. As far as compared to most claw machines that are out there, you're talking about $2,000 to $3,000 for a large size claw machine. These are anywhere from probably 800 or 900 to $1,500 for a mini claw machine. You make your money if you get a great location. You can get your money back in just a few weeks, up to a couple months, so 3 months or so. Um, Depending on the products that you put in there, you can purchase relatively like a generic mix, and which roughly comes out to like 25 cents per piece, and make huge margins if you want to, or you can get into doing larger plush and more licensed items and then have less margins, but have more sales. So it's totally up to you on what you want to do. But your return on investment is super fast. Um, it's one of those things that you can scale this relatively quickly. You can basically get into buying more and more machines, and that's what we've kind of noticed in the Discord with a lot of people is they grow super fast just because they put one out and make their money back, buy another one, or they're ordering 3 at a time or 4 at a time. And they're placing them, and then they're on to the next set, and it's super addicting. You start having like a nice route where you're going out and doing this, and it's very popular. And we think that of all the machines or all the types of vending, I think that it kind of covers all the bases for being easy, not as expensive. There are, we're talking about the claw stand and stuff like that. There are some concerns about them being tipsy. That's why we created the claw machine, or I mean the claw stand. But as far as like the machines themselves, the technology has come so far. You can get them shipped from China relatively inexpensive. Candymachines.com has great prices. They're doing a lot of specials right now, so you can get them in the States shipped to you rather quickly too. But yeah, so there's a lot of different ones that are out there. I won't get into, in another episode we'll get into like actual detail on machines and what to buy and that kind of stuff. And but mostly I'm going to kind of leave that because that's kind of personal preference, and that's kind of stuff that's covered in the Discord a lot. and people's opinions. And I think that depending on the way the machine looks and how it functions and stuff, I mean, that's personal preference. But as far as the mini claw machine in general, it's just a great machine. And I think that it's a great way to get in. And if if you can spend a little bit more money, if you want, if you only got it up to $500, maybe a couple, canning machines to get you going to make your money back, and then get into the next thing might be claw machines at that point. But once you go to MBVA or some of the expos or something, you'll see that, it's 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 definitely something that you'll get addicted to if you started getting into mini claws. So no cons as far as we are concerned. We haven't had. I mean, they've been super reliable. We haven't had any problems, issues. Parts are cheap. It. I think that there's some great ones out there. There's great deals on them right now. They're, as far as we're concerned, they're easy to place, very passive, and you don't have expired product. Your costs, like we said, are low. Your ROIs, depending on your location, can be super fast, and it's easy to scale. I mean, you can grow this type of business super fast. And same thing depending on where your locations are. So like we've got quite a few. Restaurants and quite a few like grocery stores and things like that. So your hours, I mean, they're usually open late. So, you can go do this at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And they're open 7 days a week, most of our locations. So you can pretty much fill them, not 24 hours a day, but, you can get in there late hours and fill them and not have to worry about that. So for somebody that's like in college too, I mean, it's a great opportunity to, go to school and then go after school and go fill your machines. But yeah, great margins if depending on, and we'll talk about that. I think that'll be a next week thing on, well, when we talk about product, we'll talk about margins. And because I think next week we'll talk about locations and how to find them, how to pitch, how to work on commission and that kind of stuff. So we'll cover all that stuff next week. So yeah, let's see. Okay, and then no product expiration. Yeah. So, all right, here we go. Tinker Toys and Hobbies said that their dad is watching the live stream and wants to know if we can get him into vending. I don't see why not. David got his dad into it, and he's doing it. He's got his own machines now. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, very cool. So all right, next one. Is it gonna go? There it goes. So amusement. And this is something that we got into the past year of our business, and we were kind of, I wouldn't say we were forced into it, but we had some really good locations that are part of a group, and they had a location, which you can see here in the bottom right. They had a location where they basically cleared out like a room in the back, and they wanted it filled with machines. And the other locations that we had with them are really profitable for us, and so we're kind of like, I guess we should probably do that because they are asking us to, or somebody else is going to go in there basically. And so we had to find machines. We had to figure out about amusement because we've never done anything with. I mean, I've played arcade games since I was young, but we never even opened the back end of like a real arcade game. Like I didn't even know what makes them tick. I know they had a screen and some buttons and a steering wheel or something, but that was about as far as it went for me. And I knew they had computers in them and stuff, but I really feel that you know there's a science to this, and with amusement games, and a good example of that is we're giving away on our live stream on Wednesday nights. We're giving away a Claw Crazy claw machine, and those guys are extremely good at doing mini arcades. Like they know how to set them up. They know what machines to put in them, and they're very good at that dynamic. And I think that what has happened over the years is when you have locations like a Dave and Buster's or like a family entertainment center of some kind, like if it's kart racing or bowling and with an arcade and stuff, like those locations is it's kind of like those machines are there to give people something to do to keep them occupied while they're waiting to do the big thing that they're there for, if that makes sense. A lot of people don't go and hunt down those arcades anymore like they used to. Like it used to be when I was growing up, because I'm old. But like we went to the arcade to play arcade games. I mean, that's what we did. And now it seems like the dynamic is a little bit different in the fact that the popularity of those games and stuff has gone down quite a bit. And what you'll notice is that when you go to like like the MBVA and the MOA conference, the games that are coming out, I mean, they've got to be good. They've got to bring something different to the table, so that it's attractive, because kids nowadays, their attention spans and the things that they, like we would go and like play a video game. Like I remember I used to love this game called Gauntlet, and it was at a local pizza place when I was a kid. And like we would put, I don't know if you guys knew or heard of that before, but you would put a quarter up, if you wanted to play next or whatever. And there would be like a line of quarters across the machine of like people waiting to play that game. You know what I mean? And get in on that game. And it's just, I don't think it's that way anymore. I think that I've seen it on a few games that have come out recently. But they're all redemption games. So, for example, like I'm in love with the Over the Edge game. I think that one is a huge moneymaker. It's very popular. But what are they doing? They're trying to win product, right? So versus racing or those types of things. Like I think that there's a whole science to putting a few machines together in a location in a small arcade that gets them to basically circle around and play all of them. That they're all different, they all feature something different, and one kind of keeps them occupied while they're waiting to play something else or go back and play something else. But claw machines, and redemption type games like Over the Edge and those things, those are super popular, and that's what keeps people coming back and playing. So I think there's a big con of those types of machines is first, they're expensive. So you can order these types of machine from China, but they're not the same machines. So the things that if you see something that looks like a Cruisin' USA on Alibaba, it's not Cruisin' USA for $1,000. So don't think that that's what you're buying. They're not the same machines. The ones that you'd be buying from a company like Betson or another distributor or something like that, and you'd be paying Need for Speed. Those one single Need for Speed is like $20,000 for one of those racing games. So that's how pricey these things are. And so imagine how many plays you've got to have in order to make your money back from that kind of machine. So, I mean, you've got to really have a large influx of people. You got to have them staying for long periods of time. You've really got to be, to make your money back, it's really got to pay off. So sorry about the dogs, guys. So I really feel that your ROI on those things is really, it's a long period of time. The great thing about them is that you can keep them for a few years to resell them. They do hold their value pretty well. So especially the good ones like your Need for Speeds or your Cruisin' USAs or those types of machines, they do hold their value over a few years. So you can make quite a bit of money back. But if you buy the knockoff versions, from China or something, like they're not going to be worth anything. But you're also buying them for, a lot less. But definitely to buy the nice ones, you're talking quite a bit of money, and you need in order to get into these. So I would recommend that. I mean, the other thing too you got to remember is like things like games. Well, actually, somebody just like it's exactly what I was just thinking. Walker Venny. So Walker Venny just posted. He said, hard to get people to play arcade games when they have them on their phone for free or on a Switch or something like that. So that's why. That's the big thing that I was going to get into is that, those types of games, like, like that's why VR and stuff, like you'll see like Jurassic Park now, you put on a headset and you got a gun and you're going through. So it's got to be really immersive nowadays to get these kids to put money into it. And they're charging $2 a play. And to get them to put $2 into something when they can go put it into like Over the Edge and win something, they're not going to do it. So amusement games and stuff, I really feel like you'd want to have something like an FEC, or you want to be really good at it, like, Call Crazy does, and you know exactly what to put into a small room like that, where to buy it, how to get them, what to buy, and to make sure you make your money back. And they're extremely heavy. Like if you look at the room down here that we did it at the diner that's down here in the right hand corner over here. I mean, these machines, I mean, that air hockey table is all metal. Even that Simpsons is super heavy. And then that toy soldier is like 60 inches wide. I mean, it's a giant machine and they just weigh a ton. So even the claw machines like that are really, really, really heavy. So they're heavy, they're hard to move, they're hard to place. If they run out of a location or you need to find somewhere else to place them, it can be hard. And so, like down here in the bottom left corner, we have our Paradise Lost shooter, and then a Mario Kart. And these are all ones we got from an old vendor that took really good care of his machines. And that's the other thing that we learned is that, if you don't know what's inside these machines or what's supposed to be inside these machines, and you open them up and it's missing half the stuff, you may not know that. So, or they went in, they put in a different screen, but they didn't put the right, attachments, or it's some cheap screen or whatever it is, and you're just gonna have nothing but problems. So knowing a lot about these machines is very important, or knowing somebody that does, because you can get yourself into a lot of trouble not buying from the right person if you're buying used. Like these Cruising USAs up here, we got from a guy down in Southern California, and he'd had routes for 20 something years, and like he had these special in his garage that he kept himself. Same with the Arctic Thunder. So all three of these were his, and he kept them as like his personal collection because they were in such good shape. But he was moving and he was selling them, and so we got really lucky because these are like, I mean, almost brand new. And I mean, they're not new, but you know what I'm saying, they're in really good shape, and it's very hard to find stuff that's in good shape like that. So it was really lucky for us because we needed them really fast, and we found them luckily, and we found good ones. So, but if you are going to do these older machines and stuff, stick with redemption type games and only do ones that are popular. Cruising USA, Mario Kart. Like if you're doing shooters, you're going to do Terminators and Aliens and those types of games that people will play. Otherwise, it's not worth the money, and you're going to be holding on to them for a long time, and you're not going to get many plays. But for example, like Cruising USA's and stuff, they get plays because people have that nostalgia, of playing them, and then kids like to race, and they get to race each other on these, which is kind of cool. But as far as what we make, so like that Galaxy machine that's in between them right here, it makes about 12 times what these do a week. So just with one claw machine compared to these racers. So it just gives you an idea. And the Arctic Thunder is actually kind of cool. That makes more money than the two Cruisins, because it vibrates and blows air in your face, and it's just different. So people like it. So anyways, but that is that. So I really feel like the popularity, since, like Walker was talking about, with people with the games on their phone, harder to place, longer to pay off. If you buy them used, you got to find something that's in really good shape. They are very passive. They're very well built. You don't usually have a lot of issues with them as long as they're, original and taken care of. And you can also, most of these companies do provide the service of getting the, computer parts or refurbished. And you don't really put any hours in these. You basically just, people pump quarters into them and you collect it, and that's pretty much it. So you don't have to buy product. So that's one of the biggest, pros, is that you don't have to buy product for racers and shooters and stuff like that. But on the big cranes too, what you'll notice, and I included, these in amusement, the big cranes, because they're different than the minis. But you make a lot more money on big cranes than you do on minis. So just for those of you who are wondering about that, but they are harder to place. Products cost more money, but you get more money back. So yeah, so hopefully that helps you guys out. So, all right, so let's see what's next. So any questions on any of this stuff, let me know. We still got about a half an hour left. Let me see what's next on my list. Oh, here we go. So we went over mini claw machines, as far as I'm concerned, or mini claw machines. There's not much to, as there's different brands, but they all are pretty much the same. But what I wanted to cover for people is people that may be getting into full line. There's a few different full line type machines, and I think it's really important that you do a few things, which we're going to talk about with locations and stuff. But you need to really think about what you're buying before you just start looking on Facebook Marketplace and to go buy a machine because it's cheap. So there's a lot of things you need to consider when you're looking at these machines. And there's basically four types of vending machines that are still around. And so, as far as we're concerned, like, you have your traditional, which are your like your Dixie Narcos and those types of machine, which are just drink only. These things are like bulletproof beasts. I mean, they've been around forever. They usually run really well. You don't have any issues. Sometimes a compressor, sometimes little things here and there, like sometimes you'll get a jam or whatever. But we don't really have too many issues with our normal drink machines too often. And those are just primarily drink only. The one thing you're going to need to know on a machine like this when you're buying it is whether or not it's credit card, whether you can use a credit card machine on them or not. And that's very important because nowadays, people are all switching to not carrying cash as much as they used to, unless you're at a laundromat or something like that. But more than likely, people are going to be using cards more than anything on these machines because they don't have cash on them. So you want to make sure that it will take credit cards actually on any of these machines. So that is very important to consider when you're looking at the machines, is whether or not they can take credit cards or add a credit card reader to the machine. So the next one down below that, as far as drink machines are concerned, is these are what we call glass front drink machines. These are by BevMax. These are the ones that we use from Pepsi, and there's different ones out there. This is just the BevMax tends to be just kind of like the Dixie Narco seems to be the most popular one that's out there. You guys have all seen these. They use a little elevator that comes up and it drops the the drink into it, and then it slides it over to the right and it goes in and comes out that little door. These we've had really good luck with. I know that like Jaime, who if anybody watches Jaime Ibanez, he does a lot of this. He's really good at these machines, and we call him every now and then if there's something going on. But the only thing that we ever really had problems with in these is it's you can have busted product in there and you need to clean it up real well because it's sticky. So and it can gum up all the belts and the stuff that are in these machines and the elevator and stuff. So if you do have and then of course, sodas tend to explode. So it usually ends up all over the place. So that's the only issue that we really had with these. But otherwise, they're usually pretty good. I know that there's elevator issues and stuff, but usually most of the time they're pretty easy fix. So we've had good luck with the BevMax. There was a thing I wanted to cover here from Comp Magic. He had a comment. He said, not just credit cards, but today everyone's using watches and phones, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, etc. Kids are okay to tap like nothing. So we learned that on our claw machines too. So what you really want to look out for, and what I meant by looking out for that on these machines, is that it wouldn't matter what kind of payment type you're taking. It's just they can either take credit cards or they can't. So they're either, the system in them is available to do that or it's not. And that's a big deal. So what would change with that would be the actual reader that you use and whether or not can do Apple Pay and stuff like that. But the fact that you can or cannot use them, period, on these machines, it doesn't matter what kind of payments you take. They either can or they can't. So that's something to look out for when you're buying on Facebook Marketplace or something like that used. Make sure that it'll take credit cards. So on the right hand side of this row is the what we call combo machine. These are great if you have a location where you don't have a lot of space or you only have one room, room for one machine. But one thing you have to be really careful about with these machines is that they will not service as many people. So if you're going into a location with 300 employees, you can't be running one combo machine. It's just not going to work. So you'll be filling that thing every day. I mean, it just doesn't hold a lot of product. Usually the drinks, you'll get about 8 or 9 options for drinks. That's about it. And each row will hold 6 or 7 items, maybe up to 9 sometimes, but it's rare for as far as drinks. And then usually in the top, you only get 2 rows of snack types, and then you have one row of candy. So you really can't carry a lot of different products, and you don't get to put a lot of them in there. So like you still get like 10 items per row usually on the top ones. The drinks are a lot more restricted, especially if you do bottles, because you can't hold as many bottles as cans. But these are great machines if you just need something where, it's in a break room somewhere, or, like that kind of stuff. Or if you're somewhere you're going to service often, then those would be fine. So that is something that you want to, consider when you're looking at these machines. It sounds like it's a great option, but you got to remember too that, you got to figure out how many people you're going to service and how often you want to go there to fill it up. So, let's go down here. I got a couple questions. So, what machine do you use to vend a Pokemon card? So we use, right here, actually in the picture, it's right here. We use these Rhino machines. They're from, and we have some older All Star ones that we've gotten, but these are Rhino flat vending. They're on candymachines.com. They're about $300, and so we do Pokemon cards in the middle usually, and then we do stickers and tattoos on each side of it, and they do really well. We do them for $1 per. Then we put 2 cards per sleeve in these. And they do really well for us, and they've been pretty reliable. We haven't had any issues with those flat vending machines. There's others out there for sure, but that's what we use. And then Tinker Toys and Hobby had a question. They said, "Are Sega machines as bad as we heard?" They used to be. So they had a pretty bad rep, but they've been bought by a better company. I can't remember. Matt told me who bought them. But they, from what I heard, according to Matt, his machines are pretty awesome. And because he bought all new Sega machines, and they're doing really well. So, yeah. So I guess they're not as bad as they used to be. So he said they do really well. So, anyways, so that's a combo machine here. And then down below here is, like we run our executive snack machines. These are, and all these now, like this, well, not this one actually, but these snack machines, we have one that we just got, which is really sweet. It has a touch screen and stuff like that. So this is a snack machine down here at the bottom. This is the higher end. You can buy them, you know, less fancy, just black. We have one like that at one of our dealerships. But so this is an all snack machine only. So usually at the bottom you have like where you put your danishes and donuts and stuff like that down at the bottom, and then you usually have 2 rows of candy, 2 rows of chips, or a row of like snack type items, and then like you could put jerky or whatever you wanted like in the 3rd row, and then you have like usually top 2 rows is all chips. But these are really good. We get these from Wittern, and they're really good. The one up here is from Wittern also. And that's probably it's called a Futura. It's their most popular machine they sell, is this combo machine. But like I said, you got to really consider where it's going and how many people. But these snack machines do really well. So very popular. So that is the 4 different really machines, as far as full line's concerned. But I think that a lot of people, the reason I kind of made this slide is that I think when people hear bulk vending, they think either candy or like toys. And I kind of wanted to show that there's a lot of different choices when you get into bulk vending as far as what you can do. So you can do everything from your traditional gumball machines like this with candy. You can do, like we talked about, Pokemon cards, stickers, tattoos, that kind of stuff in here. Then you can get into I wanted to show this. This is a rack. So and these can get big. Tinker Toys and Hobby has quite a few racks, but you can do, these sticker machines, these gumball machines, and then you can even do some of these, 2-inch bulk machine, all in the same rack. So you can mix it up and change it up and order it however you want to be, and you could have, you could have 5 different kinds of bulk on there. And like where these gumballs are, you could do like 1-inch toys in here. Or 3 rows of, excuse me, excuse me, three things of toys here, and all candy on top. So these racks are really cool if you can find a space. And this rack is only like 18 inches wide. It's actually about 18 inches square, which is really, really, small. It's a small footprint, and that's about the size of these stands is 18 inches. So these tiny racks are awesome, and like you could put this sticker machine on top. And have candy down below, or have the sticker down below and candy on the top. So racks are really cool because you can mix and match and be able to offer a lot of different things. And once you get more than one rack, then you have, you're buying bigger amounts of toys, saving yourself more money or candy or whatever it is. And then like, oh, Jen's here. Hi, Jen Ben. And she says a spiral. Yeah. So one of her favorite things is a spiral, and I love these too. These gumball machines, and basically they roll all the way down, and the kids just go nuts when they do them. And I think we're going to be adding some of those to our route too, because they are very popular. Same size, same footprint. You're looking at about 18 inches, which is what all these are. So these are all about the same size. The racks, they can get as wide as like, I think it's like 5 feet wide or 6 feet wide. They can get huge. So you can really, have a big rack, on a location if you wanted to, with a bunch of different things. But there's your spiral gumballs. So it's another version of bulk vending. These are what the triple shop, candy machines models look like. And then, if you, so this is kind of like the one we're giving away, but the triple time we're giving away, these plastic containers are actually removable to clean, which is awesome. So it's kind of an upgrade to this, is the one we're giving away each month for Yao kids, for Yao. So it's pretty cool. Then this is, I wanted to show you guys, this is a 2-inch bulk machine. We run Pokeballs in these all the time. Also like candy machine, these are like candy machine, toys that you can get on candymachines.com. You can run, and that's where we get our machines. We highly recommend, these are rhinos. I highly recommend you get the one with the drawer if you can. This is great to get your change out. You don't have to lift this up and drop the whole front of it. You just get your change out of this drawer, which is great. So you're not opening up the machine. But those are really good machines. And then the new popular thing for those of you who follow, is gotcha machines. And that's something that we're going to be talking about in future ones of these, is these, because these are very popular. As far as quality of the machines, they are like a PVC plastic. So you do run into, not as heavy duty as like a metal machine or something like that, but the kids go nuts for them, and what you put in the balls is super important. But these are another thing that you can do, and you can do these 1 high, 2 high, 3 high. But gotcha machines are very popular right now, and they're great additions to your route. So if you had like a mini claw machine, you could do any of these right next to it. So we usually have at least 2 of these. So we usually have at least a Pokeball and a sticker machine at each of our locations. But you could stick a spiral. It'd be just as cool. You can change it up and do whatever you want to do. But I wanted to give you some more ideas of what was included, in bulk. Because it's definitely, there's a lot more out there that you can do with it, and some neat stuff that's available. And you don't always have to put the same thing as everybody else does in it either. I mean, I don't know how many, we were at the MVVA conference, and I think there was like over 100 something different kinds of gumballs there. I mean, it was crazy. So you can really mix it up and change it up. So anyways, so as far as, I kind of gave you some ideas, on the other slide with what we're talking about with arcade or amusement machines. You're talking racers, shooters, large claw machines. But I wanted to show, especially the details of full line, because you need to really consider what machine you're putting in there. You don't just want to buy something just to buy it, because it may not fit the location. And I highly recommend you get the location first, then go get a machine, unless you have something on hand, because finding a location to fit your machine is a lot harder than finding a machine to fit the location. So hopefully that helps. So we got about 20 minutes left. I wanted to open it up to discussion and comments. Let me know what you guys think of what we discussed. And please, visit our website, check it out. Like I said, we got more stuff coming up, but we're really, really excited about that, and about offering you guys more things. And I really think that that's why I wanted to open it up to discussion and comments, because, that's kind of the point in doing this is, we want to help you grow, and we want to help you get started. And I think that, it's it's very exciting to get started, but I also think it's very daunting and kind of overwhelming. So we wanted to kind of break it down for everybody and hopefully help them. So so we had a comment from Comp Magic said, I think the spiral's cool, but always made me look sad knowing how long those gumballs sit. Well, hopefully it's busy, and you will, hopefully the gumballs won't sit there as long as you think. And hopefully you're filling it. I know that like, Eli and Cody from Quick Play, they're that giant gumball machine and they're always filling it. So like, I think it depends on the location of where you have it and how busy it is. I don't know what this means. How much for the vend? I'm guessing you were asking how much we're vending certain things for, but I'm not sure what you were asking. So let's go down. See what else we got. There already is. Imagine they do. Oh, a small spiral with credit card. Yeah, they don't have a small spiral with credit card yet. Just the big one that I know of. But good idea for sure. Yeah. So Candy Machines does sell the racks. The comment is Candy Machines sells the racks solo too if people want to mix and match different heads. So that's what I was talking about is that, Beaver does it. They do it. Gumball.com does it. Northwestern has mix and match. So you can kind of create your own rack, which is cool. And then they already have ones that are already set up for you too. So it depends on, but it might give you some ideas and you can create your own however you want to do it. And it's very cool. So great job, Howard Hospitality Group. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Comp Magic. Appreciate it. Let's see. I'm not sure what Jen's talking about. So part two, when's part two? Part two will be next Thursday. So we'll start with part two. We'll talk about locations next week. So we're going to talk about how we hunt is what we call it. It's funny. That's just what we call it. But we go out. We actually spend quite a bit of time at home prepping before we even go out to hunt for locations. So we'll go over like our whole how we do it, and then some of the things that we learned from other people on how to find locations, and then how we pitch. I'll show you guys our flyer. I have a copy. I'll bring one out of the car to show you guys kind of what we do with our flyer. We have a little box of toys that we take people, or cookies. If they make cookies, we'll do cookies in the box. So we'll talk about our little boxes with toys, but that will help you kind of give you some ideas, and that works for full line too. We do drinks and snacks in a box and take it. We haven't really hunted for any full line locations. We've had a couple come to us, but we haven't done full line hunting in a while. Excuse me, my voice is going, but yeah, and if you go to our channel, we have the videos on her little secret weapon that she uses for her locations. But next week, that's what we'll go over is that, and then we'll talk about your full conversation with them and the things that you need to cover and an easy way to do it for you. And we'll make it, because Amelia and Sam are 12 and 15. They do it on their own, and they do very well. And it's not that hard. And I think it's about having tools, and I'll show you what the tools to take are. So, Stinger Toys and Hobbies said, glad to see more lives like this. This would be cool to do something like this quarterly for new vendors. Yeah. And Jen, Ben, and I were talking about doing something similar like this for the MBVA a couple times a year too when it comes around. That was her idea of doing exactly this kind of stuff. So do I have an exit strategy for Howard Hospitality Group? Don't know what you mean, like to stop doing vending. I don't think we want to. Like, we're having too much fun. We love the business. We love the people. We love the machines. We love all the new machines that come out. Yeah, we still got time. So, Tinker Toys and Hobbies said, can you touch on buying used versus new for machines? Yes. So, depending on which type of vending that you choose, and Jen's vend, who's in the comments, is really good at this too. There's a lot of people start with bulk that redo old bulk machines, and they come out, as good or better than when they were used, and they perform a lot better than the new stuff. So if you're looking to get into bulk and you can find old Northwestern machines or Beaver machines, the quality of those machines is far superior to anything that's out now. That's not them themselves. And I highly recommend you buy the older stuff and refurbish it. And I mean, yeah, buy the older ones and refurbish them because the mechs are more reliable, and they just work better. And especially if they're taken care of, then and they work, then it's good. It is hard to find mechs for older machines, but they're all metal versus plastic. There's not a lot of plastic stuff in them and stuff. So you're dealing with real glass and real metal and stuff, so they're a lot better. But a great way to get into the industry is to buy the new stuff, and it's a lot less expensive, and it's cheap, and or inexpensive, I guess. And as far as like you get your money back pretty quick. But there's a lot of good stuff out there that's new too. And I think that a good example of that is the Rhino stuff at Candy Machines. It's a good new version of older product that's pretty reliable. So it's still, there's still some good stuff out there. Just be careful what else you buy. As far as any kind of full line machines, I think you really need to know what you're doing. You need to, when you go to buy like a full line machine, there's a lot of parts, a lot of things that work, and you need to know all those things. So if you're just getting started in the business, just them turning on the drink machine and it gets cold is not really enough. You need to check all your motors. You need to make sure that they're dispensing the drinks. You need to run it through its paces to know. And then the same with when you're doing snack machines, or even combo machines. Like you need to test all the motors, make sure they're all working. There's a lot to it. So because you're buying a pretty expensive machine, and just because they say it works doesn't mean it works. So you got to be really careful when it comes to vending machines. If you buy new, you got a warranty. So if something doesn't work, then we only buy, when it comes to full line machines, we only buy new. Reason being is that I'm not an expert on the machines by any means. I've learned a lot in the past 3 years, but I couldn't tell you everything. And it's just because I can call them anytime and they walk me through stuff, which you can't get if you buy used full line machines. So there's a lot of forums. There's the Discord and stuff, which can help you with that kind of stuff, but it's a lot harder, versus calling them up and them sending you a part or whatever and you swap it out. So as far as claw machines, you got to be careful with those too. You got to know how they work. You got to make sure that you test them all, that they're picking up, that you can run through the settings. In the older ones, they didn't use, like nowadays, everything is on the screen and programmable on a screen or digitally on the board. In the olden days, it was dip switches. So you would set the different dip switches for whatever you wanted for your settings. So you really need to make sure that all that stuff's working. And if not, I mean, finding an old board for an old machine is a lot harder than it used to be. So you got to be really careful with those older machines, and definitely get in the Discord or talk to somebody like Matt or somebody like that that knows these older machines and know what you're buying, because it can be really scary if you're trying to find a replacement, giant claw for a huge gantry in one of those machines and stuff. So there's a lot to those too. Highly recommend. I think everybody in the States nowadays, carries really nice claw machines, and they're all pretty similar. They're just, different designs, different looks. There's a lot of new stuff that's out there that's kind of neat. You've got, for amusement, other things. You've got the new clip machines that, that spin around, the little carousel that spins around. There's some new stuff that's out that's really cool. So definitely look at everything that's out there. But if you can, I recommend 100% you buy new with anything if you can. But if you can't, you can save a little bit of money, but just be careful about what you're buying. So, Claw Magic has a question. He says, do you think it'd be better to invest in electronic bulk machines than the smaller gumballs and card machines? I think it's costs. It's what's cost effective for you. So, as far as the trend is, everybody's turning towards, using credit cards and stuff like that. But I know that people at our restaurants have no problem whatsoever going up to the service station and getting, some change for some quarters to put in our, bulk machines that are there. So, and some people even put, changers in their locations. But I think that there's quite a bit of difference in price. You're over $1,000 or more, for electronic bulk machines. You're in the over the $1,000 range versus 200 to $400. So I think it depends on what you plan on doing, in the long run, I guess, and what your budget is. So I think it just kind of, I think that you don't need to have, I don't feel you need to have a credit card on everything that you're running, like those types of machines. I think on claw machines and other things like that, it's a no brainer. You have to have it on all those machines, and of course, vending machines, full line, 100%. Smaller little stuff like that, I don't necessarily think that that's necessary. But it's totally up to you. If you want to spend that kind of money and do that, then it's definitely, if you can, it's so much worth it. I mean, you have no problem getting all forms of payment, which is awesome, right? So, but I think that kind of this live stream is more about people that may be getting started. If you're expanding and going into bigger locations and stuff like that, I would say 100% do that. But to get started, it might be better to start with something less expensive. But yeah, depending on your budget, I guess. Let's see. So Claudette 2 says, I need part 2 on how to hunt. I said, no, I'm struggling on placing our second machine. For sure. That's next week. So we'll go over that. And I think you guys will like it. There's a lot of stuff that we've learned. It's not just us that we've learned from other people that help us too. So, I'm not sure what this means. Is it 40%, 40%, 20% inventory stock? I'm not sure what you're asking with that. Let's see. Yeah, see, Jen says use machines, Northwestern, Eagle. I forgot about Eagle. Good call. So Eagle and Northwestern are her favorite. So, because they're just super reliable and they're built like tanks. So, but yeah. Brawlicon said the same thing. Eagle and Northwestern are great, especially because they take the same lock and key. Brawlicon says also you could also get a full line machine from Pepsi or Coke, but you have to purchase a certain amount of volume to keep the machine at location. So we have that arrangement with Pepsi. They are no longer doing that in our area. We are kind of like the last ones to be able to do that. So you got to check with your local Coke or Pepsi and see if they're still doing outside vendors. But yes, that's how we do our Pepsi machines. Cool. So we say nice job. Nice. Yeah. So any other questions? We still have about 7 minutes left. Like I said, I got the video done on the claw stand, so I will be releasing that right after this. I've just got to post it because Sam and I filmed it earlier when it showed up today. We're very excited. It's beautiful. We're very excited. I mean, it's all powder coated. It looks really nice, and I think it's going to solve a lot of problems for a lot of people, which we're very excited about. Definitely check out our website. We're very proud of it. We spent a lot of time and a lot of effort, and then we have more stuff coming. Basically, almost every week we'll be adding new stuff. You guys had requested a lot of merch, and so Stitches, that local place that we go to, he hooked us up with a lot of merch and opportunities for you guys to get stuff like that. And then if you need stuff, definitely call him. The Claw Stand actually has its own website too if you want to check it out. It's clawstand.com, but it's pretty much the same information as our website. And then don't forget to check out yowkids.org. If you want to get your kid involved in vending, or if you know somebody that might have a student or something that we can get involved in vending, that would be awesome. I really think that will be, that's kind of where our future's going. And with the MBVA and their scholarship and kind of where things are heading, I really feel that we're gonna get a lot of kids in vending this year, and I'm really excited about that. And then they get to be like Amelia and Sam and learn, a lot about the business. And they got to go to Vegas for the first time this year and meet everybody, like Gen Ven and Tinker Toys and Hobby and all these people that they'd met over the screen or talked to on the phone, but have never met in person. And they had so much fun. And so I really think that it's a business that they can grow into, and it's something that they can take with them even when they graduate and then carry on or create their own route or whatever it may be. So, small money trading, I'll cover all that next week. So he wanted to know I'm jumping into part two, but next week we'll cover all the stuff with commissions. There's a lot to that, and I only have like 4 minutes left, so I won't be able to cover all that. But next week we'll get into that, and it'll probably be towards the end because we'll talk about how to hunt, what kind of locations you're looking for, and then I'll actually show you guys how we hunt online and what we do with our locations. And we'll just pick somewhere at random and pretend we live there, and I'll help you guys find locations there just random. So it won't be like I've already looked somewhere. I'm just gonna pick somewhere random, like we just moved there, and we'll see if we can find some good locations just randomly together, and we'll do a little bit of hunting online, and then I'll show you what we look for, and I'll talk to you. I'll show you our flyer. I'll show you what you need to bring with you, and then all the talking points. So. Mini toy machines. I got like 2 minutes. Says who has the best mini claw machines in the market today. So there's two that people love, and it's kind of two totally different options, which is funny. So the two most popular we feel like in the Discord right now is the Candy Machine Super Mini, or there is a distributor out of China. Her name is Rainy. It's Lafang Lafunds, and is that right? Lafang. I think it's Lafang. I'm trying to remember the name of the company, but Rainy, and they have the Mega Minis, and those are the two most popular. I think that right now, the Mega Minis have a slight advantage as far as people buying them, but there's two different, and we'll get into machines. And one of these, we'll talk about that kind of stuff. We can cover that in one of these episodes. But there's positives and negatives to both ordering direct from China versus in the U.S. And we'll cover both that basically in a nutshell. One, you got to wait a long time, which is if you order from China for them to get here. But they're less expensive versus getting them sooner and having better customer service in the States. So it just kind of depends on what you're going for. But those are probably the two most popular. But I definitely recommend many toy machines that you join the Discord if you haven't been there. So all that stuff is covered in the Discord. So, anyways, Rainy Lafang, I thought so. Yeah, Rainy Who and Lafang. That was what it's called. I couldn't remember the first part of it. And actually, Rainy is the one that actually is building our claw stand. So they are the ones designing, or not designing it, but building it and sending it out for us. So we have a couple more. Yeah, we got 2 more minutes. So what toys make the most profit in your claw machines? I think that overall, like, we run pretty nice toys in our machines, and I think they all make pretty close to the same profit. I think there's different popularity. So I think that what you really need to do is cover all your bases with having stuff that's generic, but at the same time having stuff that's licensed. So we buy stuff that's generic, like octopuses and just generic things like that, and then we buy stuff from like companies like Good Stuff and stuff that is licensed stuff. So you have the real deal stuff. So then when we kind of cover all age groups too. So you're gonna have stuff in our machines that's Star Wars, Nickelodeon, you're gonna have Ninja Turtles, you're gonna have Disney, so you're gonna cover all your bases. And I think that that's the most important thing, is covering all the generations and covering everybody's tastes. So you have stuff for girls, stuff for boys, stuff for adults, stuff for kids. But yeah, so that's the best way to do it. I think that once you get to a certain point, like in the beginning, it's best to buy the least expensive product you can. so you can make more profit in the beginning, and then as you work your way up, you can even start at 50% or 50 cent per play, and buy really inexpensive stuff from like an All-Star cheap mix or something like that from All-Star or Flatline or SSM. Buy something inexpensive and do 50 cents per play until you pay off your machine, and then once you pay off the machine, then upgrade your product and go up to $1 per play, and put in really nice stuff in there, so you can upgrade. So there's lots of options like that. So, but I only have like 30 seconds left, and then it's actually going to cut off. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you guys liked it. Please comment on everything. Please share it with everybody. And basically, please share it with everybody and let everybody know that we're doing this. And if you have somebody that's interested, especially if it's a friend of kids or your kids or whatever, get them into Yao, and definitely visit our website. And thank you guys so much. And yeah, so I will talk to you guys next week. Actually, I'll see you guys on next Wednesday with Matt and David, and hopefully Ben will be there too, and we'll do our next week live stream. So, and then I'll see you guys on next Thursday. We'll cover locations. So that's it. Thanks, guys.